The big skill these days is how do you make a big impact on a small screen? You have to design everything for attention. Because if I'm not capturing your attention, you can be on a Zoom call and pretending to, you're nodding, but I can tell by your eyes that you're checking email. So I think these days you can give me your time, you can be on the Zoom call, but you're still not giving me your attention. You're just not tuning in. And that is a big shift because at least in the meeting, I could tell if you were looking down or doing something else, right?
Welcome to Start With a Win, where we give you the tools and lessons you need to create business and personal success. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Coming to you from Brand Viva Studios here in Denver, Colorado. It's Adam Contos. Start with a win. How you doing, producer Mark?
Oh, I'm starting with a win.
I love it. I love it. Hey, how are you doing in this current day and age of, the hybrid workforce, the hybrid company, the best mindset, communication, your digital enablement, things of that nature? How do you feel about that right now?
Well, I feel pretty good, right? But I will say that it's interesting to see all this stuff happening online with Elon Musk, wanting everyone back in the office. And, there's just all this stuff going on. So I feel like there's obviously a struggle of what this all looks like. And so today we have the pleasure of having international speaker Debra Jasper on Start With a Win. She's the founder of Mindset Digital, which is a digital transformation company that provides in-depth training, strategy, and consulting to companies around the world. She serves as a faculty fellow at Ohio State University and has been named one of the top 12 winning women entrepreneurs in North America by Ernst Young.
Awesome. Deborah, great to have you here.
Welcome to Start With a Win.
Hey, great to be here, guys.
So it's, first of all, my dad's a Buckeye, so shout out to Ohio State. Great school.
Go Bucks.
There you go. And I'm from Columbus, so wonderful town, great people.
There you go.
Yeah. Small,
it is a great town.
Small world. Hey, let's just start here. What is a digital transformation company? Take us through that a little bit. How did you get to where you're at with these? A lot of people are using those phrases right now. What does that mean?
Sure. For us, it means how do you communicate in a digital world, right? So today we were talking about audiences are not just distracted. We've been super distracted for a while, but the challenge now is they're more distant and they're more distressed.
Yep.
And it's just easy to get a message out, but hard to get a message in. It's hard to get people to slow down and tune into anything you have to say. So we basically transform how people are communicating. You've got to communicate now with extreme clarity if you have any hope that you're going to drive action and get results.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit. I love this concept. What changed and what didn't change, or what were those problems that we had with what didn't change that stimulated this conversation?
Right. I actually love that question because it's funny. We all think that, everybody said the world shifted overnight and all of that. But in a lot of ways, the way we all do business, and when I sort of slogging through our days, frankly, it was even more email that we're slogging through and instead of long, boring meetings in person, we were doing long, boring meetings on Zoom. So in some ways, a lot didn't change that should have changed. But what I think now people are recognizing is the big skill these days is how do you make a big impact on a small screen? You have to design everything for attention. Because if I'm not capturing your attention, you can be on a Zoom call and pretending to, you're nodding, but I can tell by your eyes that you're checking email. So I think these days you can give me your time, you can be on the Zoom call, but you're still not giving me your attention. You're just not tuning in. And that is a big shift because at least in the meeting, I could tell if you were looking down or doing something else, right? But I'll tell you, one of the big shifts that I think has happened is this level of stress. There's a lot of research on anxiety and how it impacts the brain. And I think for leaders, what people are starting to understand is when I'm stressed out, it's harder for me to listen, it's harder to learn, and it's hard to remember anything I learned. So if I'm leading stressed out people, and who isn't, everybody is stressed out, It's just requiring you to communicate with extreme clarity. You've got to get to the point. No more long meandering emails, long meandering meetings. People have less patience for it. And that's true in person and away from work, because you'll tell us things we can't remember. It's just hard. So I think the big shift when we talk about extreme clarity, it's easy to say that, but what does that actually mean? What does that look like? And so we've spent a lot of time at Mindset Digital thinking through what is the formula for extreme clarity if we're going to capture attention now.
All right. So you talk about the formula for extreme clarity. Can you walk us through some of that?
Yeah. So first, I talk about it in terms of three things. Here's the big skill today is you have to be a better virtual communicator. Right. I'd argue a powerful virtual communicator,
totally.
Right? What does that look like? I think of it in three buckets. First, you've got to write for attention, because I don't see you every day. So now I'm writing you email, and studies show we get tone wrong about half the time. So I'll be like, Adam, that email you sent me, is that pissed off at me?
I've heard that before.
Something wrong?
Yeah. But you're trying to be very concise, right?
Right. So short, we say, does not mean rude. But here, our formula, we have an SOS habit program. We call it everything that goes out the door has to be short, organized, and skimmable. And then underneath that, we talk about ARC. It has to be clear calls to action, clear recommendations, clear context. Because nothing's more annoying than popping open an email and saying, I don't know why you're sending this to me. So that's step one, right, for action. The second is, how do you deliver powerful presentations? Because most of us at some point, we're either leading a team meeting or, we're on a big stage, but either way, we're having to lead team meetings and Zoom calls and presentations in a way that's powerful. And you've got to structure that for narrative. So I wrote my dissertation on micro storytelling and the art of powerful storytelling when I got my PhD at Ohio State. And really, we need to be structuring our meetings like a good narrative story. Powerful opening, 3 key points, strong chapter headings, powerful ending. There's thought that goes into this. And then the third is, how do you deliver a powerful online presence? I used to cover presidential campaigns when I was a journalist. I'm glad I don't do that now.
Right.
But I came to sort of LinkedIn and people's online bios and said, oh, this should be more of a mini magazine bio that answers 2 key questions versus if you said, hey, Deborah, I'm Adam, I wouldn't say, hi, Adam, I'm Deborah, I'm a dynamic leader. Or Deborah is a dynamic leader. We don't talk about ourselves that way in person. We've got to stop doing that online because it's kind of painful.
Yeah, experienced problem solver.
So those are the 3 things.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes.
You're making me think of some of these really terrible elevator pitch bios I've seen on LinkedIn. It's crazy.
Yes.
Adam is an explosive leader with
bam.
Yeah. I run toward fires. Yeah, no, we can't. Yeah. We gotta stop.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like we're doing a movie trailer or something like that for an action film.
Right. I say your LinkedIn profile should answer that summary section. It's the most powerful section in your bio, right? Or even your bio should lead with, we got to answer 2 key questions. Why should people work with me? And will they like me? We look you up and say, do I want to work with you? And what am I going to do for them? It's really, why should people work with me? What am I going to do for them? So often we're leading with, let me tell you why I'm great. We should be leading with, let me tell you how I'm going to help you be great.
Deborah, so we've got these 3 points, right? For attention. How do you deliver powerful presentations and deliver a powerful online presence? I want to get back into the first one, right, for attention, because a lot of people, we went to grammar school. We didn't go to copyright school. Why do we try to impress other people with the big words and how long we can make a sentence instead of...
Right. Okay. I'm going to give you the 3 curses that stand between you and your audience. The first is the curse of competition. We know this, right? We're up against a lot. So if you're not engaging, then I've got my phone at my fingertips. There's a million other things I could be doing. So first, there's just too much coming at people, and you've got to design. That's where I call it design for attention. But the second curse, which just gets to your point, there's 2 curses. One is the curse of knowledge, and part of it is you think about your real estate expertise, right? You talk in your sort of your own tribal language. You know this stuff really well. You've been immersed in it forever, so it's easy for you because you think you're explaining it, but the client is going, what? What are you talking about? So that curse of knowledge is when you know it so well, you think you're explaining it, but you're not.
Right.
What you're talking about, though, is my favorite curse. And this is the curse of expertise, which is different than the curse of knowledge, because the curse of expertise is when you're talking to impress rather than inform. So this is when I would say, oh, I got my PhD in, educational policy. I studied pedagogy versus I studied teaching. And what happens is
I love this.
We think that we're waving our flag of knowledge and expertise and people are going to be impressed. And really, people are just like, that is too complicated. I'll deal with that later. And they're just, we're giving them permission to tune us out.
Well, that is so true, because realistically, you're following a story and you're asking them to switch channels with their brain and figure out the word you just said, as opposed to listen to the story. So the story goes by the wayside. It becomes secondary to, I now have a new challenge, and that is, what the hell does that word mean? Yeah. I have one more question for you before we get to my final question. What is rapid visual storytelling?
Yeah. So I came to, I was a writer. I love storytelling. And then I realized, I actually like just storytelling. So I could do that in person too. So I became a keynote speaker, and we started doing visual storytelling, because it's the same thing. You can't put a bunch of text on a screen and think anyone's going to tune in. We're just not. So I give keynotes. I've given keynotes from Dubai to Australia. And I think the reason I get these invites is in an hour-long keynote. How many slides do you think I go through? Any guesses?
An hour, I would go 15.
365.
Whoa.
And I click more than 1,000 times. I have very few words per slide. Our deep philosophy at Mindset Digital is slides are free. We have to stop using them as if they're a scarce resource. Our brains are wired for movement, and our brains are wired for visual. I have a ton of data. We could do a whole podcast on visual storytelling. But what happens is afterward, people say, oh, wow, that felt like I was watching a movie. Because, it's so funny. You don't watch television where people put up a bad slide and then talk for 30 minutes or 50.
That's so true.
Why would we think we're going to do that now? And especially, this is really critical. I deliver a lot of virtual talks now. You're designing for a small screen. There's nothing worse than saying, I know you can't see this, but why are you putting it up? So rapid visual storytelling is the ability to use a lot of visuals while you're explaining your key points in a way that works with how the brain is wired.
That's incredible. I'm going to go look up that concept, and we definitely need to get back together and talk about that. So, Deborah, our show is called Start with a Win, and we've had a lot of winning points today for the leaders out there. This has just absolutely been fantastic. We appreciate you being on here. But I have a question for you that I ask all of our guests, and that is, how do you start your day with a win?
Yeah. So I start every day by thinking about what I can do, not what I can't. And we have a whole thing where we talk about priming for the positive. And there's a million small ways that you can implement this, but I'll give you one of my favorites. If you do nothing else out of this podcast today, just ban the word unfortunately from your emails, from your meetings. So if you emailed and said, hey, Adam, or you said, hey, Deborah, are you available to do this podcast on Thursday? If I'm not, my team will say, Deborah's not available. They won't start with what I'm not available. They'll say, Deborah's available on Friday. Don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can. And I start every morning sort of thinking through, what can I do, not what I can't. And then really thinking all day, how am I priming for the positive? And I think that's just changed so much about how we do business. And we implement it in 1,000 small ways, right? We have micro moments every day. We're dealing with clients. Are we priming them for what we can't do? Or are we priming them for what we can?
That's awesome. Prime the positive. Tell people what you can do, not what you can't do. That's an amazing way to wrap up this show. Debra Jasper, founder of Mindset Digital, faculty fellow at OSU, Ohio State University. Go Buckeyes. Thank you so much for being on here. Make sure you check out Deborah at mindsetdigital.com and her upcoming book, Extreme Clarity, Breakthrough in a Hyper-Distracted Hybrid World. Deborah, thanks for being on Start with a Win.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Adam.
Hey, and thank you for listening to Start with a Win. Hey, are you wondering how to grow your business? It might be something you're missing, and it's not sales and marketing. It's something most people don't even think about, and that's leadership. Whether you're leading yourself or a team, leadership is the key to next level growth. And you're in luck because Adam has put together 3 of the techniques and ideas he used as the CEO of Remax to develop himself and his leaders to produce amazing growth. And he's put all that information in a download you can get over at adamcontos.com/leadership. So head over there. And until next time, remember, start with a win.
Deborah, that was amazing. I have a lot of notes from today's show. I love this.
Yeah. Well, one thing I was curious about that we didn't really go that deep into was, especially as a business owner and a leader, what are your thoughts around the best way to get clarity on your business or, what you're, trying to develop?
Yeah. So it's when I started Mindset, it's been over a decade now. We really started looking at where do we want to go, and extreme clarity matters so much. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I was working with an organization the other day where you think about mission vision statement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you got to start with your mission vision. And Blue Cross Blue Shield. I just gave a keynote with their chief marketing officer out in Vegas. And they did something brilliant. We say at Mindset Digital, you've got to reduce the 3-syllable words. We actually say no more than 3-syllable words per paragraph. So think about that. Okay. And they took that really to heart, and they took a complex mission vision statement down to this. I mean, before it was like 2 paragraphs, a lot of 3-syllable words. This is a Blue Cross of Arizona, and they took it down to inspire health and make it easy. If you want to inspire your teams, I can remember that. My role is to inspire health, and are we making it easy? I love that kind of actionable mission vision.
Yeah.
So as you're starting your company, you have to think, do I have a mission vision that's easy to remember, easy to share, easy to act on? And then everything else sort of goes from there. Everything you do has to be easy to understand and easy to act on. And so often we get mired in our own complexity.
Right.
That it's just, if we can't understand it, how do we think our teams are going to drive it?
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Well, it's a complex thing, but let me try to explain. It's like, okay, you've already failed,
Yeah, so, you lost me.
Yeah. Okay, I have a good tip for you for this. It's the 3 Whats. So everything I do during the day is basically everything I create is motivated by these 3 W's. What is the story about, or what is this email about? What am I doing? What's it about? Can I say it in 1 sentence? So what? Why does my audience care? That has to be the number 1 driving lead. Yeah. Why do they care? Because so often we start with why we care. And then now what? What am I asking people to do next? How do I want them to think? What do I want them to do, or how do I want them to feel? So think, do, feel. Now what? If you send me an email and you're on my team and I have to open it up and send back 6 questions, then we didn't answer the what, so what, now what?
Right. Oh, that's great. That's really good. Well, hey, thanks so much for sticking around for the after show and, being on Start With a Win. Hey, and thank you for being here watching us. You like to watch the podcast instead of listen to it, so you made it here. It's more of an abbreviated version. And so make sure that you hit that thumbs up icon if you like this content and gave you value, as well as the subscribe button so that you are part of our team. And then also that little bell icon. It will notify you every single time a new episode is released. So until next time, we'll see you when we see you.